the more we can personalize your website, right, that's reflective of you and less just kind of out of the box, the better your marketing, your online presence will be, because there's only one of you. You just need to do a good job of showcasing that on your website.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Len Tao. I'm excited today. We are bringing on a brand new sponsor of the podcast to join Cloud Dentistry. This is a company called DocSites. DocSites is a website company. We're going to be talking about the essential elements of an effective practice website during our half hour today. Websites have become the foundation for your marketing. It's your online billboard. It's the face of your practice. It's where you want to send all of your leads, prospective patients to. You want to provide them with as much information as possible on your website. That is the heart of your marketing. So today's guest is Kayvan Mott. Kayvan, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm really excited to be here. Thanks so much, Dr. Len.
And thanks for becoming the latest sponsor of the podcast. I know I'm excited to work with you. I'm excited to have the listeners and viewers of the podcast learn more about what you do and how you help practices. So why don't you give a little bit of a background to you, who you are, and what you do for dentists?
So our company is called the DocSites. I'm one of the co-founders, and we provide affordable and effective websites and online marketing for dentists all across America. Our story of how we got started is an interesting one. About 14 years ago, we were doing websites and marketing like we are now. However, at the time, we were working with everyone, right? If you had a nonprofit, we'd build you a website. If you were a dentist, we'd build you a website, everyone. It just so happened our very first client was a dentist. And this was in 2007, 2008, not the best economy. He gave us $1,000 cash in a white envelope in Starbucks. And he said, I'm going to Las Vegas. I have 4 empty walls. I don't have a practice name, no clients to my name. Help me build, what it is you guys do with website and marketing. Long story short, with the website and SEO and online marketing, we grew him from 1 to 13 locations in about 8 years. He was a great operator. He still is. His wife was an orthodontist, so he referred us to his wife. And then her brother owned a couple practices like in the Newport area, Southern California. And before we knew it, dentists all know each other. It's a small community. So before we knew it, about 60-70% of our clients were dentists. Word of mouth, the best way you could do it. Never went to a show. It just came organically. So at that point, we decided about 6 years ago to create DocSites just to provide affordable and effective websites and online marketing for dentists. And that's how we got started and keeping it going.
That's great. That's a great story. It's always, one person puts you into the idea that you're going to do an industry specific product like websites. So I'm curious, you're called the DocSites. So what was the company called prior to DocSites if you were working with everyone?
It was actually not a good name, and I'm glad I thought of something different. So one of our things was always about how we make it easy, right? We want to make it easy for doctors. So we had the name Tada, T-A-D-A, like
Ta-da, ta-da.
Ta-da, it's done, right? But I was like, Tada does not make sense. And then one day I realized, guys, what about DocSites? And I have 2 business partners, and they're like, yeah, man, you get it right away. DocSites. And so
it's funny. If you were Tada, you would have Judy K. Mazoff. That's her tagline. So is Tada. So you would have that would be an interesting conversation with you and her if your name of your website was Tada. So that's really funny. All right. So we talked about how important or we're going to talk about how important a website is for your online marketing. And like I said, it's the face of your practice. It's your online billboard. It's where you're sending every prospective lead and patient to find out information about your services. So why don't you talk about how you feel a practice can stand out online from the competition using all the various things we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you mentioned, Dr. Len, it's really the heart of all your online marketing. That's why it's really important to place an emphasis on it. And step 1, I always say to online success is you got to show up, right? You got to have a website. But step 2 is really about showcasing what makes your practice unique. So we're going to dive into some ways and tips that we've seen dentists successfully and what we've built to make those websites effective and also personalized. So the first thing you can do, and think of it like this: if you're listening to this and you realize, oh, I don't have one of these or two of these points that Kayvan's mentioning, that's probably a great sign that you're due for a website update or an upgrade, right? So hopefully you take this information and actually make some updates and improve your online presence. So the first way you could really stand out and have a more effective website is to showcase your reviews. Len, I consider you really like one of the experts when it comes to this, right? Dentistry and getting more reviews. Now, I always see this day in and day out, and pre pandemic, and even starting now, I go and talk to hundreds of dentists at different shows. We were just at the Hinman show, we go to Chicago, nationwide. One of the biggest mistakes I see dentists make is they do all this hard work to earn 50, 100, 300, even more 5-star reviews, right, on Google or Yelp. And then when we go to the website, you know how many of those are actually showcasing?
So few.
Zero.
Yeah, so few.
None of them, right? So few of them. And so that's a really, really big missed opportunity. We just launched the website for Dr. Chad Duplantis. I don't know if you know him. He's with
Dinks.
Dentists in the Know. Yeah. So Dr. Chad and I were doing a Facebook Live, and he says on the Facebook Live, he's like, I got to tell you, Kayvan, when you relaunched our website, we noticed an uptick of people calling us and saying they saw our reviews and on Google. He's like, now both you and I know you did nothing to get us reviews. We had those reviews. I said, yeah. He said, however, what your website did is it showcased those reviews in a way that patients didn't see them before. So that's what created the uptick. So again, the first, I would say the lowest hanging fruit that doctors are missing the ball on is that they don't showcase their reviews, whether that's video reviews or at DocSites, we're one of the few companies will actually embed the Google reviews directly on the website. So make sure that your reviews are being highlighted on your website, prominently on your homepage as well. That would be the first one.
And I think that's obviously, as the reviews doctor, as I'm known as, or the bird eye guy, whatever, it's always related to reviews. I mean, people reach out to me and say, you're the guy to speak to. And I guess I am. But I think that's one of the most important things that is missing, like you said. Also, look, it's great to showcase reviews on your website, but they have to be embedded from a Google, like a WordPress plugin that actually shows them being on Google. By taking a review that was written on Google and then literally having the webmaster type it into the website and then saying, as seen on Google, there's no credibility on those. They have to be embedded from a Google WordPress or just a plugin that shows them in a way that people know that they're actually legitimate reviews coming directly from Google. So that's another thing. Yes, it's great to have them on the site, but make sure they're embedded like you had said.
Absolutely. So that's really, really important. And if you want to see examples of these, you can always go to docsites.com or reach out. The second way you can actually stand out from the competition really has to do about photos, personalized photos and videos. I was just sharing this idea with someone that if you have some great photos, it makes a world of difference on your website, right? If you have operatories or waiting rooms that look nice that you want to showcase, or even a team photo, because at the end of the day, this is a people business, just like every business, right? So if you can personalize it and take off those stock photos and put a photo of yourself, your staff, your waiting room, those are really going to go a long way to make that person coming to your website feel a little bit more at home, at ease. It gives them a sense of like what they're walking into, right? And so personalization with photos and videos are a really, really big and effective way to showcase what makes your practice unique and stand out. We've had clients reach out to us who said, we don't even need to do marketing. Like, we're in a small town in Wisconsin. We get more business than we handle, but we just don't want a cookie cutter website. So they come to DocSites, we build them a website, and really it's a great website. It looks good on the phone, but I'll tell you, Len, you put the photos in there that they provided us of the office tour and, the waiting room, and it looks amazing, right? And so again, photos are going to be one of the best ways you can make your website more effective. Personalize your photos.
So a couple of things I want to add there. And I teach a section in my class. It's called Top Mistakes That Dentists Make or Web Designers Make When Designing a Website. So the fact that you touched on the photos is big because that's one of the things. But I will make mention that You want to make sure that you have a team photo where everybody's matching. You don't want to have random people wearing different things. It just doesn't look professional. So there's a photo behind you on that website there, and everybody's dressed in black. So the fact is that you want to make sure everybody's dressed appropriately and dressed the same way when you take a photo like that. That's number one. The second thing is, as you said, you want to make the patient feel at ease and feel comfortable when they come into the office. So I like to recommend that they have, the first name of the employee, what they do in the office, and a little bio about their life. So people know a little bit more about the people that they're interacting with. The sites I laugh at, it says, picture coming soon, or they have the doctor bio and no team bios. So you must have doctor photos and you must have team photos to make the patients feel at ease. So I agree with you 100% there.
And speaking of, this is exactly the next point. Having a photo on the Meet the Doctor page, right? So you have a website, you want to showcase your reviews, you want to add personalized photos. The third thing to make your website stand out is to add a Meet the Doctors page. Number one, you actually still see this missing for a lot of practices, especially if there's more than one doctor. One of the big mistakes you can make is put all the doctors on one page. The reason why that's a mistake is you're less likely to get found on Google. Now, we all know when someone refers a doctor, the first thing we do is we pull out our phone and Google him or her, right? Even if we get referred to him, it's just our natural tendency. So if you don't have a page just on each doctor, you're less likely to pop up. It might even pop up like an old website with, a company that you used to work with. So make sure that you have your own Meet the Doctor page. Now, many people don't know this. The single most visited page on any doctor's website other than the homepage. Can you guess what it is? The Meet the Doctor page.
Meet the Doctor page. That's what I was going to say. And the third one is usually a smile gallery. Those are the things that people want to look at.
Absolutely. And it makes sense, right? I want to know, who am I coming in to see? Who am I bringing my kids or nephews or whoever it may be, right? We all want to have that personal connection. So make sure that you have a nice photo. If your photo's from the 1980s, right, or your prom photo, maybe you want to switch it up or update it. You might have some certifications, right? You're part of national associations or you're Invisalign Platinum provider, whatever it may be, right? Any certifications that add to your credibility, you want to make sure that Meet the Doctors page is updated and showcases it.
What I will tell you, though, in my experience is talking to a lot of patients over the years, it needs to be, you don't need to have literally a 30 paragraph bio for the doctor. Who they are, what they do, what they enjoy doing, and a little bit about their family, I think is more than enough information. So, because patients aren't going to read all of it, they want to know what you do and how you can help them. That's really what patients are looking for when they come to your website.
Absolutely. And they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So make sure you add a photo on that Meet the Doctor page.
Couldn't agree with you more.
We really do live in such a visual culture. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, like all of it is just moving images, and the way we choose our everything providers is no different. So it's really, really important to showcase a photo of yourself so people make that connection. The more we can personalize your website, right, that's reflective of you and less just kind of out of the box, the better your marketing, your online presence will be, because there's only one of you. You just need to do a good job of showcasing that on your website.
Gotcha. So we've got showcasing your online reviews. We got the team photos, and then we have a Meet the Doctor page. What's next?
What's next is optimizing your website and your website content, right? So you might have heard of the term SEO, or search engine optimization. It's basically, for those who haven't heard it, it's getting found on top of Google for your treatments or your services, or if someone goes there searching dentist near me or implant specialist near me or whatever it may be. Now, from the 14 years of us doing this, we've seen that there's two essential elements you need to be successful when it comes to SEO. One is the SEO setup or foundation, and number two is monthly SEO blogging, where you add content. Right now, what I'm just talking about, your website, is number one. You need to have a good foundation, and it needs to be optimized. So what does that mean? That means you want to have each of your treatments actually have their own page, and specifically each of those treatment pages be optimized for your city. For example, I go to a lot of websites and I see none of them are actually optimized for that city or area. If that's the case, you don't really have a chance for showing up. So why do we do that? Why is that even important? Well, think about it. It all goes back to the patient, how they're searching. Let's say I want Invisalign, right? I'm thinking about Invisalign. I'm not going on Google searching for dentist. I'm going to put Invisalign for adults near me. It's very specific, right? That's how all of us are searching for. Or maybe I'm thinking about getting implants or veneers, right? Wow, this doctor was kind of expensive. Let me look for another doctor. Veneers or porcelain veneers, right? So there's an advantage to having each of your treatment pages have their own page and being optimized for that, so you have a likelihood of being found. So that's really the foundation of the website. And then once you are, if you're working with the SEO company or marketing company, you want to make sure that they're adding content to the website constantly that's being optimized for those keywords and terms and things like that. And that's one of our strengths here at DocSite. So I could speak on this all day, but it's really, really important because if you have a good SEO in place, if you have great reviews and a personalized website, you're really, bound for success.
So let's talk a little bit about SEO. SEO is kind of it's almost like the ugly stepchild in some cases, because people have a very difficult time measuring the effectiveness of SEO, and they really wonder whether they have to do it or not. And then once they get higher rankings, Google makes a change, and then they drop in the rankings again, and they have to repeat the process all over again. So can you talk a little bit more about, to the listeners and viewers, like what your opinion of SEO is, what you think is important in regards to SEO, because SEO is such a huge concept being spoken about nowadays?
So my answer is very similar to Jeff Bezos in a different question that was asked of him. Jeff Bezos is in a lot of different industries, and he was asked, everything's changing so quick, what do you find is important and needs to change? And he said, that's actually the wrong question. You should have asked me what's not going to change, what's not going to be different. And so that's how we approach SEO. We focus it on the essentials that are not going to change. Those two essential elements are always having a great optimized website that's foundational. And then number two, providing content and creating content that people are actually looking for that's really relevant. So that's been the same strategy that we're using, with some nuances, of course, but really that's what's been effective for us and for our clients. And if we were to double click on that a little bit more, a lot of SEO companies, and I'm saying this because I literally see this myself. So we're big enough where we work with hundreds of dentists nationwide, but still small enough where our, hands are in the trenches and we're working with our clients and we know our product and service. So I see day in and day out people overspending on SEO, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. And then when we go to the monthly work that's being done, one, there's either no monthly work blogs being done, which is a no-no, or two, and this is a big differentiating factor of what makes effective SEO in the monthly work, is, are your blogs actually optimized for what patients are searching for? A lot of other companies will write blogs like Happy Cupcake Day or how swimming affects your oral health. That's cute. But I guarantee you there's no mom or dad or anyone looking for a dentist going online saying, how does swimming affect my oral health? They're not. They're doing family dentist near me. Tooth colored fillings 91356, right? So what makes DocSite's SEO very effective at an affordable price is we focus on that. We understand that very important nuance. We are blogging and creating content for patients. And so that's a really important part that, again, I see a lot of dentists and their marketing companies making.
I agree with you there. I think that there are a lot of people, they say, but they're getting great rankings, but they're getting great rankings for keywords that people aren't searching for. There's certain things that, yes, you may rank number one on, but if you have two people searching for it, it doesn't matter. So I think there's a big discrepancy between, and I think the struggle for dentists is that how do you know SEO is working? So can you share some tips? Someone's listening to you now and they say, well, I like what Kayvan has to say. I'm using a website company. I've always been concerned that they weren't doing their job. So I think what I want to hopefully you touch on is how can a dentist be listening to this and saying, okay, I'm not happy with the company I'm working with. I don't think they're doing a great job. But how do I know that based on what information they're providing me with?
The most important thing is, are new patients saying they found you on the internet, Google, online, or website? That's really the only way you know, right? Who cares that a company sends you a report and they say, you got this ranking, you got that visibility? You don't care about that. That doesn't actually give you a return. What gives you a return is, are these new patients who are coming in actually saying they found us on Google, internet, online, or the website, right? That's how you're going to get a sense of it. And if you're not tracking it, that's a big problem. So most doctors are tracking it. So you got to just be able to take a look and see if that baseline or those numbers are going up. We're not a company that over promises and can't deliver or anything like that. There's a lot of companies out there, but if you give it enough time and you're actually on top of it, that's what we found is the best way. Only you, as the practice owner or whoever's in charge of looking at your new patients and intake form, could really see that, because a report's not going to tell you that. Your report's going to tell you that.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then what about and then again, focusing on SEO here, what reports should website companies be providing the dentist with to prove what they're doing is actually working?
I think the most important thing is to understand what they do every month, because that's where the disconnect is. Most people don't know what they're paying for and what they're getting.
And I agree with that 100%, by the way.
Yeah, I think it really starts with that, because it's really easy to say, oh, we do this and we do keywords and we do that. And someone's left thinking, well, I don't know what they said. It's like buying life insurance a lot of times. A whole fund, a life-term fund. I'm like, man, all I know is, do I trust this person or not? I don't know what's going on, right, in that fund and which one's the right one for me. So unfortunately, there is that. So if you feel it, you should get a sense of like, no, just send me what you're going to do every month and where can I see that work being done, right? Can I say a click to it? Are you adding new pages? Which new pages are you adding? SEO, to simplify it for many people, if they're not actually creating new content every month and they can't send you a link, they're most likely not doing an effective job, in my opinion.
I wanted to ask you a question because I talk about it as being an essential element of a website. I wanted a couple of opinions for you. What do you think about video content for a website?
It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic video content. From having a video play in the background when people come in, a lot of people are wowed by that, right? It has that nice factor. It gives you a sense of what they're walking into, to personalizing it. I was just talking to a doctor today. He's a holistic dentist, and he has a video somewhere buried deep down in his website. And I told him, doctor, like, what you provide is very unique. Your perspective, your approach, right? Amalgam removal, no mercury. You need to put that video front and center, because when someone sees it, they're either going to resonate with it or not. But more likely than not, they will. It's video. Same thing with reviews, right? So if you're not good at asking for reviews on a phone, ask your staff member, ask your office manager, create some process around it, get your sign-offs, and then give that video to your marketing company so they could put it on YouTube, so it can be optimized, so it can be added to the website. All these things can really be done and go a long way, especially when all these things work together.
I coined the term for that. I call it a trustimonial video, not a testimonial, but a trustimonial.
I love that. Trustimonial.
That's what I created that term a number of years ago.
I love it. It really is, because so much of marketing and really anything is trust. We do it to build trust. And really the biggest way about credibility is that reviews. That's why you made a great point, Len, of in the beginning when we talked about reviews, you're like, and you got to make sure it's embedded directly from Google or from Yelp or Facebook, wherever it may be, for that exact reason. People want to know it's coming from a trusted source, right? You didn't make up the review, and you can't. So I love that. Trustimonial.
Yep, trustimonial. So feel free to use it, but just say trustimonial by Dr. Len Tao. That's all you have to say. I'm just
trademarked by Dr. Len Tao.
I'm just joking. All right, so we talked about a number of things. Yes. The other thing I want to ask you, what is your feeling about a chat service for the website?
I think a chat service can be great if you're getting enough traffic to it. Most people aren't getting enough traffic to the website. So if you are, I think it could be great. but don't think a chat's gonna kind of fix it, so to speak.
I sell a chat service with Bird. I don't sell it to a lot of people, but I always say to them, if you don't have enough traffic to your website, a chat service does you no good. What do you feel and by the way, just so people know, you should be requesting from your web designer or SEO company a copy of your Google Analytics. So you'll be able to find out how many unique visitors you're getting to your website. So Kayvan, what do you think is a fair number of visitors do you think where a chat becomes effective? I'm just curious. I have my own number in mind. I've been talking about it for a long time. I'm curious where you think it is.
Probably like 1,000, around 1,000 a month, like visitors.
I said somewhere between 500 and 750, but hey, I'd rather you be higher than lower. So, I don't want you to say 100 people because that does you no good. But yeah, 500 to 1,000 people, visitors, I think you need on the site to make it effective.
Yep, I agree with that.
Okay, so video content's good. Chat service is good if you have, let's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 visitors. Any other essential elements that you wanted to touch on before we?
Okay. Two other essential elements that I want to talk about. One is having a before and after gallery or a smile gallery. That's really, really important, right? You see a lot of young dentists actually come out now, and they're taking away business from these older dentists with the cosmetic work, the veneer work, the implant work. Why? What are they doing? They're literally doing this strategy. It's before and after photos and galleries. So they get trained, or they take these really nice photos, right? And they add them on social media. They put them on their website or Instagram, and people see that. Again, we live in a visual culture, right? So people see that and they want to come in and book an appointment. So I've spoken to so many doctors, and when they're considering switching websites, I say, do you take before and afters? And he's like, I do tons and we're great. I say, well, none of that's being showcased on your website. So again, if you hear any of these things and you don't have a smile gallery or before and after gallery, consider this, a wake up to do something, because you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears. You're dealing with, the team and trying to get the right people on board and follow your vision and processes and systems. But if you don't have this optimizing and working for you, it's almost like, the car is stuck in third gear, right? So if you do have before and after photos or a smile gallery, make sure you highlight them, because a lot of people are going to that. And like you mentioned, Len, it's one of the most popular pages on the website. You don't have to update it every day, every week, every month. You could even quarterly send it to a company like DocSites. We'll do it all for you. Now, what's really important for people to understand is even your patients, or your trusted patients, are going to go check out your smile gallery, right? You're presenting them with a full mouth makeover or the bottom arches or whatever it may be. If you actually have cases of that to show, that person is going to be much more likely to say yes. So that's a really, really big part, smile gallery.
So when it comes to smile gallery, I agree 100% with you. I think you have to have your own photos, though. Don't copy photos from other dentists, which I've seen a lot of, is that they don't take their own photos really well. So they steal photos. You don't want to do that. And then think faces and smiles. You don't want to gross patients out. So I've seen so many websites where they show blood and they show extracted teeth. You definitely don't want to do that. You want to focus on faces and smiles.
No teeth, no even x-rays. A doctor sees that and they're like, wow, that's great. That doesn't mean anything to a patient.
Not your patients, though. They don't like that stuff. So
yeah, no blood, no x-rays. So just keep it, simple before and after.
Exactly.
And then
exactly.
Lastly, the last thing we talked about. So just to recap, we talked about your website showcasing your reviews, embedding those reviews. Number 2, personalized photos of yourself and of your staff. Number 3, make sure you have a Meet the Doctor page that's updated. Number 4, an optimized website optimized for your city and all your treatments and services. Number 5, a before and after gallery of your work. And lastly, if you happen to have technology, which more and more doctors are getting, make sure you highlight that, right? And say it in a way that people understand, right? So no one understands really like iTero scanner, or some people do, but a lot of patients don't, right? Or laser dentist. People are thinking, well, what is that? A laser? They're going to shoot me with lasers? So use, words they might understand. For example, we have a client here in Santa Clarita Valley. She was one of the first pediatric dentists to use the Solea laser. People didn't know what that is, probably don't know, still don't know what it is. So we use terms they understand, like virtually pain-free, faster fillings, great for kids. The mom gets that. It's in terms they understand, right? So if you have anything like a CT scan or iTero or any kind of technology that you use, a Surex same-day crown, make sure you highlight that on your website. And very importantly, put it in words that a patient will understand what the benefits are to them.
Agree 100%. We hide things. If you're using branding, promote the branding. If you're an Invisalign provider, put Invisalign on your website. If you're a CEREC doctor, if you're a Zoom whitening or core whitening, make sure patients can see the things that you're doing in the office so they don't have to go hunt for it. I think that's a huge, huge thing you're talking about there. Perfect. Let's talk about what type of specials you want to offer the listener and viewing audience.
Absolutely. So we do two things for dentists. One is websites and two is online marketing. If you're interested in either of those, we do have specials for you. So we have 3 website options to choose from, and we're giving a 50% off the setup fee of our standard website. Normally that's $999. As a Raving Patients podcast listener, you're actually getting 50% off that. So you only pay $499 setup, and it's $59 a month. No hidden fees, no long-term contracts. It's month to month. If you're looking for something more personalized, you want a website that has more features and more personalized, we have a standard plus website and our semi-custom or premier website. We're also giving special prices on that. So in order to get that pricing, all you have to do is text 818-489-9823 with Raving Patients. This is my personal cell phone. It's not going to spam anything. So you'll be texting me, Kayvan at DocSites, and I'll reach out to you with those special prices and we'll set up a demo. Again, my number is 818-489-9823. So go ahead and text that for special offers and be sure to put Raving Patients. Or if you want a little bit more information, you can go to docsites.com. That's DOCSITES.com. We have prices, we have examples, everything you would want to see and know is also there.
Perfect. Anything else before we wrap up that you think is important that you want to talk about how you help practices?
Absolutely. So what I would say is the biggest mistake I see dentists make when it comes to their marketing and what you want to avoid is having a set it and forget it mentality. I get it. As a business owner myself for 14 years, things get busy and sometimes your own marketing gets put on the back burner. So my only advice would be do something today with today's information, whether that's, revisiting, your website company, considering another one, making updates. Just don't listen to this information because it's costing you money not to take action.
I think that's a great way to end it. Kayvan, thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, if you like the episode, please share it. Please let your colleagues know about it. If you have interest in learning more about what DocSites can do or the DocSites can do for you, please reach out to Kayvan. He gave you it's 818-489-9823 is the cell phone number, and you text Raving Patients to that cell phone number. He'll know you heard about him through this or anything related to me. So I appreciate you sharing your expertise with the audience and letting them know all about the essential elements of an effective practice website. We come out on Fridays at 5 a.m. Again, if you like the episode, please share it. Please subscribe. Please review us, all the things we normally talk about. And remember, your reputation matters. Kayvan, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll talk to the audience soon.
Appreciate it.